You say that your political philosophy can be summarized by the following statement: the gods of the American empire are not the gods of Vermont. What's that mean?
Well, I mean, we have to look at what's happened to our foreign policy. Overseas, we have 1,000 bases in 130 countries. So I would argue that we are an empire. We are overstretched and overreached. We are printing dollars like they're going out of style. So we've got some major problems. I think smaller is better. I think Vermont as an independent republic could be stronger. Our own currency, backed by a precious metal, I think would be a tremendous improvement. Transparent financial system. And basically the government has lost its moral authority. It's owned, operated, controlled by Wall Street, corporate America, and the Israeli lobby.
So you, when you're elected governor, you say you'll call a statewide convention to consider articles of political independence. And I know you are serious about this, but I just want to make that clear, that you are serious about this.
I'm absolutely serious. I feel that this is the future for Vermont and from all of Vermont's children and my children. It's a way to bring about renewable energy, sustainable agriculture. I mean, my vision of this would be to model the Swiss system. The Swiss system, they produce 2/3 of their food for 6 million people on the Swiss Alps. If they can produce 2/3 of their food for 6 million people, we can produce 2/3 of our food in Vermont on the Green Mountains. It's food security, it's down. Thank you.
Yes, well,
oh, okay. Sorry, thank you. It's food security, downsizing, relocalizing. The Swiss system has a strong currency. They have a strong economy. Vermont could become the tax haven of North America. With the Swiss, they have a very decentralized system, one of the less regulated systems. They have one of the most free markets available. I think really Vermont has a lot to look at and learn from the Swiss. They have one of the best healthcare programs in the world. The schools are strong. Their children get to go if they choose to. They get to continue on to college. I mean, they really have a lot going for them, that we have a lot of similar traits in Vermont that we could actually, by decentralizing and bringing back the power to the local level, we could really make a difference and change things here.
So what would you say is unique about you? What is the major characteristic that will make you a better governor than any of the other candidates?
Okay, that's a good one. When I started my chess website, I used an open source program. I literally spent probably 48 hours straight searching the internet for a chess website, and on the very last page, I found a open source ajedrez. It was in Spanish, and I had to completely, out of all the programs I found, that was the best one. So I had to, without knowing anything, completely research it, backwards engineer the thing, and I found out that that's what I'm good at. By backwards engineering the entire program, then isolating the bugs that were in that program, and then adding new features once I understood the whole process. So by doing that, I was able to recognize a niche market, grab a hold of that market, and by using an open source program and backwards engineering, that's what I feel I'll bring to the as governor. Backwards engineer the whole thing, look what the problems are, fix the bugs, and move forward and add new features.
As governor, will you support a larger allocation for the Vermont Department of Tourism and Marketing to bring visitors to the state?
Okay, as an independent republic, how many people do you think we would bring as visitors to this state? I mean, people would be flocking here to visit Vermont as an independent republic, in my opinion. Wouldn't you agree with that? I mean, it would bring notoriety to all of our products, everything we're doing. It would be the David and Goliath. We stood up to the empire, did it very politically and peacefully, set the new metaphor for what it is to be an independent republic, give a metaphor for the rest of the states that, look, smaller is better. That's what we can do.
And is Vermont of the scale that it can sustain itself as an independent republic?
Yes, I believe, well, a lot of people think when an independent republic, we're talking about isolationism. That's not true. We'll still have to import our energy. We'll still have to import a lot of our food. But as we grow into this, especially with the food, definitely we could move towards 2/3 of our food being produced here, and then move forward with innovative technologies for renewable energy to slowly wean ourselves off of oil. So yes, I believe it's fully feasible, because one of the things you have to look at is that $1.5 billion, and this is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, $1.5 billion is our pro rata share of the U.S. Defense Department budget. So, I mean, what could we do with that money? So think about that for a second. What could we do with that money if we kept our money here in Vermont? That's a big question. There's a lot of possibilities.
One of the things that you talk about is bringing home Vermont's National Guard troops. Why? What's the idea there? Is it?
Well, the wars are illegal and unconstitutional. Our National Guard were not designed to be placed in other countries and foreign soils. I would do everything in my power as governor to bring the Vermont National Guard home now. Whether it's possible or not, at least I can try. And any governor that's running should at least try to bring the Vermont National Guard home. They don't belong overseas in the illegal and unconstitutional wars where we have 1,000 bases in 130 countries. They belong here at home.
Do you consider Vermont's taxes too high, too low, or just right?
I actually think this goes back to the $1.5 billion again, which is our pro rata share of the U.S. Defense Department budget. If you want to lower taxes, we need to look at that money. How much money could we give back to the people of Vermont if they decided to give it back to them by getting rid of the 800-pound gorilla in the room, the $1.5 billion?
So now we're going to move into things that are more about you as a person. Who has inspired you in your life and why?
Well, who has inspired me? Martin Luther King. I mean, he was a dissenter. He stood up to the system. John F. Kennedy. Ron Paul. Ron Paul was a big inspiration for me. And of course, Thomas Naylor, sitting in the room over there, writes the truth, and I love his writing. I got involved in the Ron Paul campaign, and that's where I got turned on to the foreign policy of non-intervention. As an independent Republic of Vermont, we could actually institute a foreign policy of non-intervention.
What makes you a good leader?
That's a good question. A leader because I sort of take risks. I sort of step out, and I'm intuitive, emotional. I'm not as much as the logic-driven, but I look at the field. That's how I was able to secure my place, the niche in this chess-playing community, was because at the time I was teaching chess to young children in elementary school, and I was just, into chess. And on the internet, I saw there just wasn't much going on. So I took the lead and the charge and started looking for what I could do to actually stay home with my children and live at home and be at home with my children. So I took that chance and that risk, and I went out. We almost went broke doing it, but we did survive.
Let me move back to a business issue. If you were elected governor, what are the top two things you will do to strengthen and promote manufacturing in Vermont?
Well, gosh, I think that to strengthen and promote manufacturing in Vermont, first of all, a lot of people are saying that we have too many taxes. I would say in this room that a lot of you would probably agree with that. Again, I have to go back to the $1.5 billion. Becoming an independent Republic of Vermont will give us many more options.
And what would you do to promote economic development in general?
Well, economic development in general, I think by decentralizing and giving the power back to the people on the local level can really bring back the ingenuity of Vermonters to solve and create unique ways of solving our own problems. I see that as a big thing in the renewable energy industry by letting the local people in the decentralized form allowing to come up with the solutions. As governor, I would actually look for ways to, well, if we became an independent republic, I would then run for president of Vermont. But as president, I would decentralize all of the power from the central government down to the local level, like Switzerland does. The president has very little power in Switzerland, more of like a figurehead. And that's what I would bring it down, because to that level, I think that's how you can stimulate the economic growth.
You have 20 seconds. What's your closing thoughts to people here?
Well, I would say that I'm standing out and delivering a message to Vermonters. We're facing an economic collapse, devaluing the monetary system. We're facing major problems with the empire.
There you go. Dennis Steele.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.